Hello, in this video I am going to show you how to do the shorts, legs and the little shoes. Okay, so I'm just going to hold her up first so you can have like a good look at her on video. There she is. Just turn her carefully. I had to do a little bit of support at the back, so there's a little backpack. I supported her there with a little, well, we'll call it a rock. But we'll see what I can do with this one. I'm going to put a little bit more support into the one that I'm making now, so hopefully we won't need to do that. But if you do, you do. It's just one of those things. It's because a head is so big in comparison to a body. Okay, so I've got 15 grams here of, well, I've kneaded it once, this brown, so this is for the shorts. And I've got my paper ready, so my baking paper to actually make the model on. So that's a pretty vital piece of equipment, that's how you can turn this model. So just knead it till it's pliable, don't make it too soft, because that's when you're going to get problems if you do. And it's already sticky, so corn flour. So dark colours are always harder to actually work with because of the amount of colouring that goes into them. So this was just a paste colour. It was a Squire's Kitchen one actually to make this brown. And the darker you make the colours, the more it causes the paste to dry. So you've always got to be aware of that. So I've got a nice round ball there, no cracks in it. Just re-knead it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on the end and make a teardrop shape. So like that. So this is going to be a waist here, so where my fingertips are. And then keep the base rounded if you can, so keep all this rounded. And then just take the piece and gently just start turning and squeezing the top part. So what I'm trying to do is bring out, so I'm putting this side of this hand fingertip in there, is bring out so that it's little high-waisted shorts she's wearing. So this is the back here, so that's the back of the bottom of a back, and there's a bottom sticking out, and then a tummy wants to be flat. So I'm going to keep just rounding it off for now. And then the tummy part here, the best way to do that is to get your cake smoother, lay it onto the cake smoother, and then just press down. And then if you turn it this way, I know it's probably hard, but I can see now that is where a tummy is going to be flat at the front and a bottom coming out. And then just gently tap the piece down. So I'm just pressing down now with my fingertips to shape it. So don't worry about the corn flour because it just disappears. Just smooth it and it'll just disappear into the Saracino. And now what I want to do on the top here, so where a waist is there, the join, I want that nice and flat. So use your cake smoother, just gently tap down, or you could turn it upside down and tap it onto your workboard. And it's just having a look at the shape of the whole thing. So I've left the tummy, it's not quite as flat as that one actually, so I've left it coming out just a little bit from the side. That's a tummy, there's a bottom, and there's a waistline going in. So I'm making sure, I want to make sure this little piece won't move. So once it goes onto the paper, we are going to put some support through it later on. But I don't want it wobbly at all because it's got such a lot of weight to hold later on. So that's why we're going to get in as much support as we can. Right, just going to flatten it a bit more at the front. You can even use your smoother, and that really flattens. That's really flattened that tummy part there. And then any lines that I've got from doing that, just gently smooth them. That's it. So it's getting it into position on your paper and then just adjusting the shape and having a look at it from all angles. So I want this piece to be straight, dead flat, should I say. That's about where my thumb and finger are. That's about 1 centimetre wide. It, and then onto the legs. So there's a 10-gram piece here, and again this has got solid, it's become solid, so I've got to knead it so it doesn't crack, and then a lot of pressure back in the palm of your hands. And then start rolling. So the legs are about 2 inches long, so they're very skinny. They're only probably about 7 millimetres wide. So I'm going to aim for the thickness, aim for the 7 millimetres wide. And this piece of green matting here is about 7 inches long. There's my 6-inch ruler. So I'm probably going to go about 6 inches. So the smoother, you can use it this way and that way, and it helps to keep this sausage of paste really even. That's over 6 inches. They're a little bit thicker than the other ones, but you know, because she's a different model, I don't like to make them exactly the same. So what I'll do now is just cut through with my blade, put them together. And then about 2 inches long. So they're too long at the moment, but what I'm going to do first is get the join. So I'm not putting any marks in here, so that they just fit to the bottom of the shorts. What I'm going to do is cut them at an angle. So I'll just put the angle in to show you first. So right leg and left leg. So that V shape there, that's what I'm going to cut out. So using a craft knife if you can. Well, craft knife or the polymer clay blade if you've got it. But if you haven't, hopefully you've got one or the other. But try whatever you're using, try use a sewing action. So that's that one, that's the right leg. The left leg. So like that. And then we'll trim them to about 2 inches. So I'll just do them just over 2 inches for now, and then have a look at them. And just whenever you're cutting, just try cut. So I've cut that really accurately and straight. And it's just the little feet will fit against there much better if they've got a straight cut to fit against. And then the left one going to fit. So look at them first, and then I might need to trim them. Yeah, I think they're a bit too long, those. So where the line of the shorts are there, the leg follows on, that's where I've positioned them. I mean, you can position them in different, you know, closer together, but it might be a little bit trickier. Obviously, you've just got to do a little bit more work, because I'm taking off about 1 centimetre there. That's it, they look better. So from the leg hip, they are actually 2 inches long. And then a little bit of glue. Those go on. See, I'm not worried. I've got a neat join there, but I'm not worried too much, because we're going to, later on, you might have to do this after the class or when the model dries the next morning, is put a little tiny strip on. But obviously I'll be showing you that, I'll be demonstrating that later in this video. See, all I'm doing is just checking the fix nice and secure to the body. If there's anything that I don't like down here, like a gap, I've got a flat-ended paintbrush. So these are the PME food safe brushes. They're a little bit worn now, but they're still good enough to use. But you can just use the tip to push in at the sides there to secure everything. That's it. I'm just checking the shape. It, and I'm just keeping them nice and straight, just to keep things nice and easy. But obviously you can twist, you can bend them, but it's up to you. You know, it might just get a little bit more challenging if you start to twist them too much. Right, now onto the little feet. So there's 2 large peas there, so the sizes of 2 large peas. It's probably about 2 grams that. You might be able to weigh it if you've got some normal scales. Sometimes it doesn't come up on just ordinary scales. I'm just making these pliable. Just checking that those joins are nice and straight, which they are. It just makes it so much easier to fit these on. So these are going to be teardrop shapes initially, but what I'm going to do, put my fingertip on the end, just keep it at nearly 90 degrees. It's just a little bit moving forward. So it's not totally up like that. It's just on a slight slant. I've got a little point there on that one. So it's totally thin and wide at the bottom. With that one, and then just match those up. I've got the wrong colour here, and add the green to show you green. I'll just get a little bit of purple here on there. So there, the two little teardrop shapes. And then piece of bathroom sponge, all I do, hold it in my thumb and finger and then just press. And what happens is they'll curl around like that, so that then you can turn them that way and they will fit on, and there'll be a really nice shape on the base of the foot. So hold it in your thumb and finger, down you go, gently press, and it'll move round the shape of your fingertip. And I'm just going to have a look at those. I'm just going to make sure they're both matching size wise before I put them on, and the little points. Yeah. Might just flatten them a bit more because they're quite chunky, those. So I'll just press in harder now, just to flatten them out a bit more. And then, so the original little Suki here, she's got them meeting together. I'll try do this one different. I might just have these standing straight up like that. Yeah, I like that. And then again, a little bit of glue. So better to put a little bit on the end of the leg there rather than on the foot, because you've got to pick the foot up and you don't want to get glue on your hands if you can help it. Reshaping that one. So by moving this around, you can have a look at the shape of the foot from all angles really easily. That's it. So that is your first part. Okay, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, so welcome back. So this time we are going to do the body and the sleeves, well, sleeves and the little hands. So I've got 10 grams of paste here. I've also got half of a wooden skewer. So what I've done is I've trimmed it with the pliers so it's got a flat base. So it's important to put the flat base down in, because we want as much support that's non-wobbly as possible. So if I put the point down, that's not going to help so much. It's going to be much stronger. I'm going to put some cocktail sticks through as well. So I don't know just how many yet, because I'm using more support than what I did in the first model. But I've cut all the tips off the cocktail sticks again to put them all flat side down for as much support as possible. So 10 grams, and we'll just call this a jumper really. So again, it's just getting it into a nice smooth ball. And then this is going to be tapered just a little bit for where a shoulder, so a little bit of light pressure on the top, so just gently start rolling. So there, so this part is narrower, and it's about, I'll measure it for you because this is the top of the shoulders here in centimetres. So it's about 1.5 centimetres across there and 2 on the base. And then because I've got a flat piece there, I want this piece to be pretty flat, so I'm just going to pick it up and gently tap and just turn it, spin it round. It's a really gentle pressure so that I don't put lots of fingertip marks into the paste. See how long, I think, yeah, it's 1 inch, so it's 1 inch tall. And what we'll do is, I won't put any glue on, so I won't put any glue on here. I'll just to hold it for now, but it's going to have just to hold it for now, but it's going to have the skewer through. Is just put a little bit of Trex onto there. On. So it only is a small piece, you know, it's not a really big body, it's only tiny. I'm just checking it from all sides, so from the back as well, I'm looking at the shape of it. That's it, yeah, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to take it off and put some glue on. So just a little bit of glue, I've got too much there, so just take a little bit off my fingertip. So just spend a few minutes turning it round, having a look at it from all sides, just making sure it's sitting on dead straight, which it is. And then this obviously is way too tall because it'll come, but I'm going to put it, I'm just going to trim the top off for safety, so I'll trim the point off. So I'm just taking off about 1 inch there, so always hold on to that bit there because it'll just fly if you don't, and it's really dangerous. And then carefully twist this wooden skewer through. So I say carefully because if you push it in, you might distort the shape of the paste that you've just made. So all the way to the bottom. And then I know we've got a big head to go on there, So I'm going to cut so that it's just an inch left of wooden skewer. And then got a little bit of a, you put your knife on there, got a little bit of a ledge there, a little bit of a ledge there, that's just the top of the shoulders. And then when the little sleeves go on, they will form the rest of the well, the actual shoulder, the very top. So that's just the, I don't know what to call it really, but it's all your shoulder in it. This part is your shoulder, and the arm, the top of the arm will become part of the shoulder as well. So I'm just leveling that out. And then what I want to do with these flat pieces is I'm just going to put on through and then measure it, because we've got a little neck going on there. This will be too much, you know, there'll be too much wood there. So I'm going to cut off most of this cocktail stick. So it's gone all the way down to the bottom, but then I'm just going to put a little piece of it, so about half of a cocktail stick, it's going to go back in, and then press that down with your knife, and that's sort of gone in, but that just gives it just that little bit more support. I'm just pushing in the little hole that I've made. I know that a little piece of neck is going to go on and hide that, as well as the straps for the rucksack as well. But I'm just going to try and close it just a little bit. Making sure that's well secure. That's it. I'm only going to put that one cocktail stick in because that will help with the support as it dries. And then the arms, so we've got 8 grams there, but we can't do it like the leg because we need to make a rounded shoulder, so we've got to split this and make 2 4-gram pieces. So just make 2 equal balls. And then we'll need 2 cocktail sticks for these, so I'm getting them both with pointed ends for now. So I'll start rolling. And use your smoother. So we want to try aim for a rounded shoulder here. One. So it's always a good idea to start this rolling process off with your hands to lengthen the pieces, and then even them up with the cake smoother. But how we measure the arms, so those are similar to the legs. They're just a little, at the minute, they're a little bit wider than legs, so they're about 8mm wide, those. So they're too thick at the minute. But when it comes to measuring the arms, the ends of your when you stand up, the ends of your fingertips sort of land mid-thigh on most humans. So this little figure obviously is sitting down. So if you fix her arm onto there, and she can sort of touch your knee there. So that is way too long, that arm. So it needs shortening, because they only want to be, well, obviously when they're going to come down here, aren't they? But in reality, if they were going to come facing forward like that, they'd be mid-thigh, so just above a knee, around here. So I'm going to roll both of these together now, to try make them both the same thickness. And then look, so just by standing it up against there, obviously I can see that they've got to be trimmed, but I'm going to trim them from the base to keep the base flat, not take that rounded piece off. So if I just work on getting them, they can be a little, I'm going to aim to get them as thick, as wide as the leg, the arm. So on that one there, she's got thinner legs and slightly wider arms, but I'll match this one up so they're both the same thickness. I'm just looking, so I want the rounded, I'm happy with that thickness, and I just need to trim them now. So I will trim them and then measure them. So if I go for 2 inches long for now, same as the leg, but it's too long because I've got to fit the little arm, sorry, the little hand in. Rechecking that. So let's go for just over 1.5 inches. So it's like 1 3/4 inches. That's it, so I'm just standing them up against there to show you, and they're just resting on the base there. If they're moved out there, so if you test them by putting them forward like that, they're probably a little bit long, but they're I'm going to retrim them just a little bit to fit the hand in. So if I do a final trim, I'm taking off about 4mm, and then I'll do a final measure. So they're just over 1.5 inches long. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. So they're sitting just got enough room to put a little hand in to fit on the base there. But because we're going to thread them onto a cocktail stick in a moment, you'll see we'll be able to adjust them, so we'll be able to adjust the paste. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video for now, and then I'll come back and show you the threading and doing the hand. Hello, so what I've done here is I've started threading the cocktail stick through the sleeve. So a whole cocktail stick, and you just twist it in. I'm going to show you on this one, but not all the way through, because I don't put it right to the top. So I'll put it about 3/4 of the way up, so about to where my fingertip is there, and then we're going to trim off a real little tiny bit, leaving a little bit out, just so we can press the hand on. So take your cocktail stick, put it in the centre, and just start twisting gently. So just a few millimetres at a time. So I'm sort of spinning the piece of paste. So this is optional. If you find this really impossible and you think, oh, this is just too difficult, you can just stick on the arm and the hand, but I just think it just gives it more support, and it also supports the whole framework as well. Again, it's because the head is so big, and when that mushroom goes on top, and because they're resting, aren't they? So they're going to be resting on more sticks there. So that one, so I've got that nice rounded little shoulder, and you can always match them together. Come on here, and you can always re-roll them together as well, which I think really helps to keep them straight. Just move that a little bit forward. I've also supported, so this is why you needed these two cornflower formers, so this is to support the body for now. The rucksack is also going to give that fantastic support to this model as well, you know, but we'll do that. I wanted to get the arms on first, really. One of the most challenging bits of it, really. That's it. So they're both matching, and then again hold on to the cocktail stick there, this hand here, and just trim it. Just leave about a couple of millimetres sticking out like that. Same with this one. This is why we'll take it slowly in the class, because what happens with Saracino, and you'll find out as you start working with it, it's setting all the time, you know, it's just seizing together. So this is really good. So when it gets to something like this, you want it to be setting and sort of seizing together before you apply it. You don't want to be rush working with really sticky soft pieces, because it just gets all the more challenging. So those two, when I fit them on, they're going to fit on fine, and the little hand getting underneath. So if they're too short, once I've got the hand on, I'll be able to roll them just a little bit longer so that the hand sits there. But just remember, I know this is quite a challenging technique I'm showing you. You can just roll out some arms, some sleeves, and have them coming round with no supporting, and just rest the little hands on the knees or something. You know, there's no need to make it really really technical for yourself. Obviously, because I realise, you know, you won't, no one will have been doing this as long as what I have, so you know, it's all practice, isn't it? And it's doing what you can manage at the time. So 2 little hands, going to make them so smaller, much smaller peas than the shoes were. So really tiny peas. These wouldn't weigh on the scales, these would be under a gram. So they literally are the size of a garden pea. Those 2 little hands there. And then a little bit of pressure on the end, teardrops again. So that shape, that's where the wrist is going to be. Well, sort of wrist, it isn't really a wrist, it's just part of a hand, you know, because we're only making a hand, we're not making obviously an arm or anything. Right, just can't handle those, so if I dip my hand, fingertips in some corn flour, and what I'm trying to do with these is I've made them, make them more into a wedge shape. So flatten the front, so where, like when we did the hand practice, or hopefully you've done some hand practice, there's more depth here on your hand and it narrows, so it wants to be like a little wedge if possible. So if you don't want to put a little, I'm going to cut a little thumb in, but if you don't want to cut a little thumb in, those 2 little pieces there, that's why I did that practice with you, those will go, they will easily sit on the end like that, a little bit of glue on there, and then embed them and they will sit on. But if you do want to do thumbs in, so I'm going to cut the thumbs in now, so I'm just making sure they're both the same shape and the same depth. That's it. What I'll do is I'm just going to put one on, because obviously you can imagine how hard it is on video. It's also hard for me to see as well, because I can't get my head right under the camera like I would if I was working in reality. I'd have my head right down, but I'll do the left one for you. So remember, if you watch that practice video, this would be the invisible wrist line on the side of the arm onto the wrist coming down, and then there is where you put the cut, and then cut that, take that wedge out. So I'll just pick this one up. So like that, and then I'm just going to knock in that little pointed angle and then move out that little thumb. That's it. I'm not going to do any more trimming on that hand because it's obviously, you can see how tiny it is. And then pop it up to there. And then just remember, if you do decide to cut the right one, you've got to, sometimes it's easier to do them together now and cut that one in now, so that you know both thumbs, like your own thumbs, are facing in, because it's an easy mistake to cut it the other way. I've done it that many times, I can't tell you, too many times. Right, so this left arm, a little bit of glue on. It's a bit runny, this glue, so it needs more Tylo in it to thicken it up. And then it's just going to move, I've just moved it out, that little hand. and then just embed it in that little piece of cocktail stick that you've got there. And then the arm, I'm going to get it on for you. I'm just going to move that out of the way. So I can see where I want the glue down this side here, so it's going to fit all the way down the side of the body. A little bit of glue on. And then it's just a case of gently popping it on, making sure the arm sits at the base if that's the position that you're putting your arm in. So it wants to be in, so like your own arms, wants to be in the middle of the body. I'm just adjusting it a little bit. That's it, and I'm just trying to round, gently pressing, just rounding that shoulder on. That's fine. That's it, and then I'll do exactly the same, but obviously in reverse with the other arm. So I'll get that on off camera, and then we'll come back and then we'll be on to the rucksack then. Okay, so I'll see you soon.